What's going on? It's Miguel. Reporting to you live from Bangkok. We're still here. You see the grind set up right there in the back. Anyways, I wanted to just come on here and share the truth of why you still haven't made your first 5 to 10K a month online. This is from someone who's made over 6 figures personal income and generated literal millions for companies through a fucking laptop. It's really not as difficult as people make it seem, but in the same light, it's not a layup. So I would say getting to your first 5 to 10K a month online is really simple, but it can be a little difficult when you overcomplicate it, right? Especially if you're someone who's a little smarter, right? Like, you know, the traditional path wasn't meant for you. Like, let's say you knew, okay, going to college was bullshit, I want to do it. Or you went and you're like, knowing the whole time, I want to have my own thing, or I kind of want to travel and do the remote lifestyle. You're already kind of like thinking outside of the box. So you can give yourself props that you aren't completely matrix minded. You see the kids online saying, hey, look, all you gotta do is this and that, and you're doing it at 10K a month. It's not that simple. It took me months on months to make my first 10K a month online, but I hit my first 8K online in like 5 months of starting, paying for my first coaching program, and then 3 months of implementing. So that being said, the first 0 to even your first dollar online is all up here. And why that is because it's really hard to land your first offer if you make it hard. It can be as easy as, I have an outreach guide on this, but it can literally be as easy as finding people who are training reps and placing reps for influencers and helping their marketing, because these people are going to be in control of the sales teams. So what these people are going to be called are growth operators, info product operators, info product agencies. You can find these people. You can find them on YouTube. But how to find that is like type in funnel breakdowns, how I scaled XYZ to XYZ per month, all these sorts of videos. As I said, I have a whole outreach guide on this. If you want to see this, it's there. Or going on to freelancing websites, or going on LinkedIn and all these sites. And if you send out 20, 50 messages a day, or you dedicate 4 hours of outreach every single day to finding your first role, and you approach it with the right messaging, right? You make sure you're speaking correctly on camera, you have a professional background, you have decent lighting, camera, and all this sorts of stuff, you're already better than most people. Okay, because most people aren't going to sit there and put in that effort, and then you can land your first role. Now, is it going to be a great role? Maybe, maybe not, but you're putting yourself in a position to win. Okay, and that's really the simplest way I can explain it. Now, obviously, there's nuanced details to actually implementing it, and if you need help with all that, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram and ask me questions. I'll review your stuff for you. But that being said, the mental block is thinking like, am I good enough? Is this meant for me? Is this possible? And I use an analogy for this, the same thing I use on sales calls. Say I'm stuck on an island, right? It's surrounded by 17 miles of water. Everything I know and every decision I make is based on the fact I'm on an island with limited resources surrounded by 17 miles of water. But if my goal is to then get to a mountain, I have to operate from a completely different perspective, and that's the hardest thing. Operating from where we want to be versus where we're currently at. So how can I actually get to the mountain if I'm surrounded by 17 miles of water, limited resources? Well, I need to understand that mountain's even there. If I acknowledge, like, okay, this is actually possible, this mountain's here, I can have this perspective, this is an actual thing, and now I'm going to try to operate from there, that's the first thing, right? So comparing that to this journey is like, okay, I'm working my job. Let's say I just graduated college, I'm working a normal job, I'm in another sales field, door-to-door sales, but I want to get to this level. Or let's say I'm a setter, I've started it, but I want to get to the next level. First, we got to acknowledge this is possible, and it is. There's million damn kids out here are dumb as shit making it happen, including me. From there, you put on the shoes, right? 'Cause you got to climb up the mountain. Then step 3, the hardest part, is you actually got to get swimming. You got to start taking action on it. Once you acknowledge it's possible, everything else kind of falls in place because the path illuminates as you walk, right? So like as you actually start striving towards these goals, you start taking action in order to actually make these things happen, then it just gets a hell of a lot easier. Like, you just got to start swimming. Okay, so like acknowledge that the goal is possible. It's like, okay, I can make 5, 10K a month online travel. And then 2, I start doing the outreach, which is the swimming, and start sending out these messages, and inevitably you'll just end up in the position where you're making the money online. That's really the simple truth. That's the raw truth of making this happen. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. Now, if you want to speed this up, you can obviously pay for help and get training, but it's not necessarily a necessity. Now, have I invested in training? Yeah, I've dropped tens of thousands of dollars. But it's always been worth it. Anytime you invest time, money, and energy into your purpose, your dreams, and where you really want to get to, you're going to take it more serious, and it's more likely to come true. So it's a little retarded to not invest everything you have, whether it's time, money, and energy, whatever you do have at the moment, in order to get towards that goal, because inevitably, like, nothing's promised in life other than if you don't make a change, nothing changes. So if you are actually serious about getting to your goals, if you put every single fiber of your being, whether it's time, money, and energy, to getting that goal and making it happen, it's really unreasonable that you don't see success. So all that to say, fucking send messages, reach out to people to get help. Don't just watch content on this shit. Practice getting your skills up. And once you start doing that, you get more competent at sales. You'll get more confident. You start having conversations with people. Look professional. Think about who they would want to hire. Be that type of individual, and then eventually you'll be able to kind of travel and do what you want. I mean, that's what I'm doing now. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Hope this was helpful. If you want help implementing this, or you actually want to help getting on an offer, I have opened up a one-on-one program. Helped out a couple people already. My buddy Kevin, he's already doing 6 figures a year with this remote sales shit. My other buddy Ty is doing 6-7K a month, and we're able to do that pretty quickly. We're also placing another buddy on an offer right now. He hasn't started it, but between 6 to 8K a month, and we haven't even been doing it for 2 weeks. So if you want something similar, like I've done 17K in a month, made over $1 million for influencers and coaches and agencies, then if you really are serious about it, I do have a call button below. You can book and speak with me, or if you have any questions, just reach out to me on Instagram in the DMs, and I'll be sure to answer anything. I'm not going to gatekeep, and also comments down below on YouTube. But that being said, y'all have a good one.